Hello, my little mathematicians. Today we are going to review graphing independent and dependent variables and identifying them, and then writing equations. This is a study guide, so you technically should already know how to do all these. So I'd love it if you could pause the video, try them yourself, and then unpause it and check yourself with us, okay? So you paused it, you gave as much of them as you could a try, and now you unpause the video and are back with us. Okay, number one says Don Juan Pizza Company charges $1.50 for each additional topping to go on the pizza. Remember when you see the word per, each, or every, that kind of helps identify your rate, and it separates, usually it gives you the units for your y per x, right? Your independent variable is always the x, and your dependent variable is always the y, because your answer, y, depends on what you did to x. So y is talking about the money, and x is talking about the additional toppings that you add. So I would then say x is the number of toppings that you choose to put on your pizza, and y would be the money. It's not $1.50. That's not something that changes. That's your rate. It's $1.50 per topping. So the money part is the total price of the pizza. So the price of the pizza. The price of the pizza depends upon how many additional toppings you decide to add. Okay. So there we go. We did 1 and 2. We identified our independent and dependent variables. From a word problem, what if you were given a graph? Okay, remember we said, again, independent is always x, dependent is always y. So look at your x-axis. Is that the horizontal or vertical? X is always the horizontal and y is always the vertical. So the x-axis is talking about right here. What is that talking about? It's talking about the automobile speed. And then the y-axis right here, what's it talking about? It tells you right there. It's talking about the cost of the speeding ticket. And if those don't seem related to you, let me just say, the nice cop that pulled me over last week said that, oh, I'll put that you were only going 5 miles over the speeding limit. Because if you're going 10 miles over the speeding limit, then it would be much higher. So he acted like he was doing me a favor, saying that I was only going 5 miles over the speeding limit. Because depending upon how many, the cost of your ticket depends upon your automobile speed, how many miles you were going over. I know, isn't that a wonderful life lesson? Don't speed, children, okay? And the higher you go over the limit, the more expensive your ticket is. All right, numbers 5 through 7 says Connor sells baseball cards for $7 each. So $7 each, which means y per x. So it's the money that I'm going to make per each card. Okay, write an equation for this situation using x to represent the number of cards that the cards he spends, and y for how much money he makes. Okay, what would he make if he sold 15 baseball cards? And I want to say that that's supposed to say sells, not spends. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Okay, what would my equation be? Any guesses? Okay, hopefully you put y equals 7x. Okay, it's normally your equations are always going to be y equals something, and then my rate is what gets multiplied with my variable. And your rate is usually right by the word per or each. Okay, and there's no set or initial fee, so that's it. Y equals 7x. So now, what if he sold 15 cards? Well, x is representing the number of cards sold, so I'm going to plug in 15 for the x. And what does that equal? That's 105. And y is talking about the money he made. So he would have made $105 if he sold 15 cards. Okay, what about the next one? What would he make if he sold 8 cards? So again, they told me the number of cards sold, so I'm going to plug that in for the x. Okay, so 7 times 8 is 56. So he'll make $56. Okay. For my next one, it says Sally makes $12 an hour when she babysits. So $12 an hour. That's my rate. Y is the total total amount of money she makes, and then per hour that she babysits. So write an equation. What equation did you write using X and Y? Hopefully you wrote Y equals 12X for your equation. What would she make if she babysat for 5 hours? Well, it's $12 per hour. So you're always multiplying your rate with your X, and X is talking about the number of hours. So I'm going to plug 5 in for X to tell me the Y, which is talking about the total money made. 12 times 5 is 60. So she'd make $60 if she worked 5 hours. What would she make if she babysat for 2 hours? Well, 12 times 2, because we're still plugging it in for X, because we're talking about the number of hours, and the number of hours is X, you get $24. What if it said, how many hours would she have to work to make $48? Okay, well, your equation is Y equals 12X, right? X is the number of hours, Y is the total money you make. Well, she wants to make $48. I'd plug that in for Y and solve for X. So what would X be? 12 times what is 48? If you divide by 12, you get X is 4. So she'd have to work 4 hours. I just wanted to give you one of those because I noticed that all of these had you substitute in for X. Sometimes they make you substitute in for Y. So it's important to know what X and Y are standing for and use your rate to help you figure that out. The rate is usually by the word each, per, every, and it goes Y per X. So it tells you Y is talking the total amount of money, X is talking about the number of hours, and then 12 is your rate that gets multiplied by the X. Okay, this one was $7 per card. So Y is the total amount of money, X is per card, and 7 is your rate. 7 times the number of cards that you sell equals the total amount of money you make. All right, hopefully you did pretty well on this. If you did, you are ready to go.